Hi, I'm Brandon Kelly Beck, and today I'm here with my friend Tyler, who is the sous chef at Bas Rouge. Tyler, thanks for being on the podcast today.
It's a great pleasure to be here, Kelly.
Well, I'm actually probably even more excited than you.
Okay.
I have been really passionate about cooking since I was 4 years old.
We're not so different, you and I.
That was when I got my first cookbook.
Okay.
So, I have a lot of questions. I thought what would be great is just to kind of start with where you are right now in your life, not like
Yeah.
go all the way back.
No, of
but
course.
because I'm kind of curious, because you're a sous chef.
Yes.
I don't even know what that is.
Simple. Simple. Sous is French for side. I'm a sidekick. I'm a professional sidekick. And, the younger version of myself would be screaming right now because I've always wanted to be the owner, the executive chef, the chef de cuisine. But where I'm at and where I work, I love my title. I love being a sidekick. I love
The sidekick.
the selfish part of me loves it's no risk, extremely high reward. I can do whatever I want within reason.
Yeah,
and have
yeah.
fun. And a lot of the responsibility falls on our corporate executive chef and our executive chef at the restaurant. But
Okay.
but in addition to that, my job really is to make sure that our executive chef is comfortable, that the people below me feel safe and feel heard. It takes a lot of the burden off of him so he can do his job well, and we get to work together in creating art. What I do really is art at this point. There are chef jobs where you're producing for 300 people and feeding, let's say you work in a military base and you're cooking for 400 cadets. My job, I cook for 40 to 50 people at the most a night and give them 130% attention. And it's the funnest job ever.
Okay, gotcha. So this sounds like you kind of have one of the better roles in the whole.
In my opinion, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if you talk to any Yahoo that wants to be a chef, they're going to say, "Oh, I've been a sous chef for X years. It's time for me to be the executive chef." But I'm 32 and I love being the sidekick. I think it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like that's a good position to kind of be at in your 30s, right?
Yeah,
A low
yeah.
responsibility.
Absolutely.
So the sous chef is the sidekick. So
Yeah.
with all of this, it makes me start thinking about if you were to think of cooking as like, you mentioned the military thing. It makes me think of like military level things of like,
Yes.
what are all the different levels that like, if someone's just getting
Yeah.
into being a chef, like
Yeah.
where do they start? How do they move up?
Yep.
How long does it
Of
take?
course.
What can someone expect if they're younger and they're like just getting into it? That
Yeah.
kind of thing.
And I guess this is where it does branch off. And there are forms of cooking and culinary pathways where it is very militant. We actually call it a brigade system. And it
Okay.
starts with your common chefs.
The
the
commie
one.
chef sounded a
Yeah.
little something different.
Yeah, it's not political.
We
at
start
all.
with the commie chef.
It's all this old French chef that of course I can't remember his name, and I'll get just crucified for not knowing his name. But a very famous French chef created this system called the brigade system, and it starts with the lowest, and essentially everybody reports to somebody, much like the military. You have people that are below you, people that are above you. You have your jobs. That's one way. You can go to culinary school and get your degree and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, which has its place. Or
People spend that much on a culinary degree?
absolutely. I mean, I have no problem saying that I think the culinary school nowadays is a complete waste of time and money and income. Of course, if you want to be a culinary school instructor, sure, go to culinary school and you can learn. But
Yeah.
I mean, I deal with tons of CIA grads, and CIA is the Culinary Institute of America, and that's
Okay.
where I wanted to go there as a kid. From young, I was like 14, and I was like, I'm gonna go to CIA, and I'm gonna learn, all these things.
Okay.
And those chefs, obviously, I'm sure there are tons that are super acclaimed, but what it is you're literally, it's like art school. I'm sure there are places where you can learn technique and history and learn the breadth of the whole thing, but they're never going to tell you how to pour your soul out onto a canvas. And that's kind of how I feel about culinary school, is that you can learn all the techniques, but your real schooling begins when you work in a kitchen. When you're hungover at work, or let's say you have the flu.
When you're hungover at work.
You're hungover, you have the flu, and you have to work. There is no calling out because the show must go on. That's your station. There's no one to cover you. There's no one to come save you. You have to run your station. If you can't do it, you're fired. And that's how a lot of cutthroat restaurants are. And these cutthroat restaurants are how you progress. I worked here, so I deserve to work here. I had this job, so I deserve this job. You can't lie your way into it because you get in there and you can't broom wash shallot immediately. See you later.
Yeah.
It's not like graphic design where you can kind of fake it till you make it. Either you're good at cooking or you're not. You can't AI generate a recipe. You can try. But when, these things take hands-on trial and error and failure, and there's always variables. I always say that cooking is one of the most natural forms of art because it is technical, but it also isn't, because every orange has a different amount of sugar. Every steak has a different fat content. Nothing's ever the same. A color is a color.
You make me start thinking, because you keep coming back to the art of this kind of thing. And I guess being, the amateur home chef, I never think of like the artistic nature of how I do stuff. I definitely like, I guess, the closest I can think is the feeling.
Yes.
Like I definitely can remember specifically like a time where I was barbecuing for everyone.
Yep.
And we threw a 20-pound bag of charcoal on an old gas grill. You know what I'm saying?
On top of the gas.
Yeah. Just
ignite the coals and let her go.
Yeah, just, because it was an old gas grill, so ignited. Okay. So that thing, I think it was reading like 750 degrees, because you can imagine.
Yeah, it's hot.
And so I was cooking all kinds of food on top of there, and it was just like, you're in the fires of hell cooking on this thing.
You're playing jazz.
Oh yeah,
you're playing jazz.
You've got to be good at what you're doing, and then that moment where like all the food's prepared, everyone sits down, and they start eating their food. And you know how there's always lively conversation at a big party, and then it just goes silent,
like a dairy farm,
just silent.
And that's a good sign.
Completely silent.
It's a great sign.
Those are such great moments because everyone is just like in their own head, eating that food.
Oh yeah,
and it's like
they're distracted. They're distracted by pleasure, by dopamine being released.
Mm-hmm.
They got nothing to say. And there's 3 similarities here. We can compare that to a dairy farm, which I always tell people about because a lot of my background is in ice cream. A good dairy is silent. A good dairy, you walk into the milking floor, it's silent because the cows moo when they're sad. And cows are sad because they're not being milked. So you walk into a dairy and it's silent, they're happy cows because they've been milked when they want to be milked, right?
See, I would never expect this like metaphor that you said, like, because I'm like thinking, oh man, this is a transcendent like experience. Like everyone's just, you're like, yeah, they're distracted.
They're distracted.
I'm like,
man,
that's too oversimplified.
Salty, fatty food in mouth, human happy.
Yeah.
And which is a great thing, which is what we do. We're easing suffering. To be hungry is to suffer. And to be fed is to ease suffering. And in my opinion, that's what hospitality is all about. We are easing suffering.
Okay.
From a hospital to the Ritz-Carlton. There is an ailment. There is a need for comfort. It is provided human happy. Right?
Uh-huh.
And that's why I do it.
Okay.
And on the same tab as the cow metaphor, the museums.
Uh-huh.
Going to a museum, and if it's, I'm not a super well-versed museum goer, but if you go to a really inspirational exhibit, they're silent. There's no banter. And if it is, it's very quiet chatter because people are appreciating the interpretation, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of food is people as they're eating and looking and smelling and hearing the server describe the dish, they are interpreting your art.
Mm-hmm.
And what other art do you taste besides food? Correct me if I'm wrong. It's impossible. Because if you're tasting it, it's food, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I look at it. I always tell people that there are culinary arts and there's food science.
Okay.
And you have to understand food science to get better at culinary arts. And your food science won't mean anything in the creative eye without culinary arts.
Well,
And that's my Venn diagram that I live by.
okay. Well, this kind of leads into one of the other questions that I was going to bring up is how do you design the flavors that you want or the experience you want? Because I know you're dealing with different flavor profiles, texture
Oh yeah.
profiles, presentation
Yep.
is very key too.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what is your kind of approach on that? If you were to like think of anything you make, I know years ago I looked into like what was it? Tim Ferriss had a book out, and he like talked about like sweet, sour,
Of course,
salt, spice kind of thing, and that kind of broke it down so you kind of figured out what it is. But I mean, what's your take? Because you actually,
I mean,
are a chef.
It's at Bar Rouge especially. We charge a premium for you to come and eat 3 to 4 ounce portions of meat. I mean, if you were over my house and I said, time for dinner, and I put you down just our steak entree, you'd be like, what the heck is this? This is not enough for me. But at Bar Rouge, you are having bread service. You're having an amuse-bouche, which is a small bite to get your palate excited for the rest of the meal. You're having your first course. You're having your second course. You're having an entree. You're having an intermezzo to clear your palate, which might be a sorbet. And then you have your dessert, and there are so many things happening that each one of these steps has to be beautiful and has to be intentional, or else you look really corny. It's really easy to look corny. Here's your gazpacho. It's like, I don't want gazpacho. I'm about to have a steak. Why would I have gazpacho? But a lot of empathy, I think, might be the best word, as I try and put myself in the position of the guest when it comes to how I think about what I want to do when it comes to presentation and flavor profiles, but how I come up with them, and that process for me is 100% from experience.
Okay.
And it doesn't mean I'm eating something and being like, wow, I wish I could make this. I mean, as crazy as it gets, I was in Costa Rica this year and seeing a sunset at the beach that was mind-blowing. I don't travel a lot, so seeing this was just like totally brain melting. And I was looking at the sunset, which was very yellow, and all the people in the water that were wearing different colored bathing suits that were like red and yellow and green, like bright, vibrant colors, and then the water reflecting that yellow sunrise looked very yellow. And I was like, how can I make a sauce that looks like that? Like, how can I make a sauce that looks studded, like golden and then studded? And that ended up being our hiramasa dish, which is on our menu now, which is a kingfish that we cure in lime salt. And it's just a simple black bowl. And we use a ring mold so the fish looks nice and tight. And we lay hiramasa, or the kingfish. And it's just a circle of fish on a black plate, and that's it, right? So you're paying, let's say, with wine, you're paying $400 for this dinner, right? And you're like, okay, wow me, because I'm spending good money.
Yeah, really.
And then the server sets down in front of you a black bowl with like maybe 2 ounces of sliced fish on it. In my eye, especially from somebody that eats a lot, I see that and I'm like, okay, like I just gave you all this money. And before you know it, the captain whisks in beside you with a copper pot full of this sauce, and he enrobes the entire carpaccio with this golden rainbow sauce, which is what we call the sauce that we put on there. And it's a simple emulsion of lemon juice, Dijon, and olive oil, right? Blended till it's smooth and thick. And then we throw in orange slices, Fresno pepper brunoise, which is a fancy word for tiny little dice, salmon roe, which are these brilliant little orange eggs that look like Dragon Balls, Dragon Ball Z, chive. And then we take basil oil, right, which is this vibrant green oil. And you got to follow me here, but we squirt this oil into the pot, and we don't want it to blend. We want that oil to stay separated, right? We call this a broken sauce. The oil and the liquid have not emulsified fully, right? So you have this giant veins of bright green kind of ribboning through the sauce, and the captain comes up behind you before you can dig in and just lathes this sauce all over this circle of fish. And it's a classic case of underselling and over-delivering. Because once it gets on there, I mean, it looks like the Easter Bunny just refused his lunch all over your plate. Like, it is just fireworks.
Oh, and it looks like that scene that you painted about,
exactly.
being in Costa Rica.
It's what I had seen in the water. It's my interpretation. And I'm not a very good artist when it comes to like drawing or painting, but that is how I create what I saw. And then doing it, and I have horrible imposter syndrome. So whenever I do anything, I'm always like, oh, this is so stupid. Like, this is so corny. And then doing it, and then having the support from our executive chef, Phil. I mean, he sees it, and he sees the magic, and he's my biggest supporter of all time. He's like, this is awesome. And then people will try it, and they love it. There's no better high in the world.
So that sounds like it creates an interesting mouthfeel too.
Yeah, for sure.
Like with the way the fish is, has a certain texture. What emulsified.
Yeah, that fat coats your tongue.
And then you have the pops probably.
Exactly.
From
salmon roe.
Salmon roe.
Yeah.
And then you have kind of that whisk of that, basil?
You got the basil oil, which is very fatty on the tongue.
Oh, yeah.
Very fatty.
So you kind of get like a flow because it's the broken sauce. You'll get layers of the texture, not a solid texture.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah,
it's layers.
It makes me think of as simple as it is.
Yes.
For me, would be how I used to make fajitas back in the day.
Okay. Yeah.
So I would do like the grilled chicken.
Of course.
I would cook the mushrooms in butter, separate.
Delicious.
Everything separate,
Yep.
and then I'd do the onions.
That's a pro move.
The onions cooked down, and then just do like the peppers, but hot and fast at the end of the onions.
Yeah.
Still with the onions, but like they're al dente.
Yes.
Exactly. And then fry the tortillas in oil so that they puff up and they get that good
and you
flavor.
get a bit of crunch on there.
And then assemble,
It's indulgent. And for me, that is my favorite type of food. Hot and fast combined with slow and stewed. Right. I mean, like you said, like your tortillas and the peppers. I mean, is there any better flavor ever?
I just think it's a different experience if you cook everything separately, put it together, then you get and that's not every dish. Don't get me wrong.
You're right. That is a big part of all cooking is don't crowd your pan unless you want to stew something.
Yeah, that's true too.
Because we can get into the science of water, but I always tell new chefs this really simple analogy that if I had a bottle of water, right, and I held a lighter under it, and I held the flame under this Dasani bottle of water, right, and I let it just cook, you will never melt that plastic until all of the water is gone. And then the plastic bottle will melt. You'll never blow a hole in it and the water will gush out.
Yeah.
The water needs to be gone. So when you crowd a pan, you'll never get your Maillard reaction, which is a fancy word for a sear. You'll never get a sear if it's crowded. So you taking things out, not only are you building Maillard reaction, but you're also establishing a fond on your pan, which is the little brown bits at the bottom. So I mean, you're right on the money, doing it separately.
And that's something I haven't really played around with, is the fond kind of thing.
I mean, you're right there. You're one step away.
Yeah.
Splash of white wine in there and you're...
deglaze.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It almost feels inherently natural, does it not? Like, I mean, I'm sure you read it in a book somewhere, but for a lot of people, it's like, it just makes sense. I don't want steamy garlic. I want fried garlic. I don't want steamy peppers in my fajitas. I want the little brown edges on them.
Yeah, of course.
And it tastes a little burned.
That's the flavor.
That's the flavor.
Color is flavor there.
Yeah.
It is. So that's kind of how you go about. So you're creating art from past experiences sometimes.
Usually. Yeah.
And it sounds like you're layering textures and flavors.
Always.
So, I'm not sure how like a simple home cook could think about these kinds of things.
Easy. You have an air fryer. You put fried, I love tater tots. I love tater tots in an air fryer.
Great out of an air fryer,
Wow,
aren't they?
dare I say they're better. They're not greasy. They're so crispy. Take tater tots out of the air fryer that you salt as soon as they come out, and then have a pickle.
Okay.
A dill pickle. And take a tater tot and eat it, and then you take a bite of the pickle. And tell me there isn't a symphony in your mouth, not only of texture, but also of flavor contrast.
Now, same time in the mouth?
No. One after the
other.
One after the other. You don't take a bite of food and drink the wine that paired with it and swish it around. You enjoy the wine. Swallow the wine. Think about the wine. Eat the food. Chew the food. Swallow the food. and compare the two and draw the conclusions, right? If we wanted white wine in the food, we'd put the white wine in the food. They're to have together. I used to, when I was young, and I used to love like cooking crazy food and plating it and going nuts. And I always thought that sunchokes, which is called a Jerusalem artichoke, it's like a cross between a potato and an artichoke. They're very bizarre, but they're one of my favorite foods of all time. But I always thought they tasted like artichokes. I'm sorry, that they tasted like scallops.
Oh, okay.
Like the flavor was so similar, and I was like, wouldn't it be cool to do a sunchoke puree with an artichoke or with a scallop? And I would do the sunchoke and the scallop, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever, and it was delicious. But it wasn't until I was like 30 that I was like, wait a minute, why am I doing this? They taste so similar. Why would I put them together?
Yeah.
Like what adventure is being had here? You know, and that's the thing. One thing's to complement each other, not to remind you of themselves.
You know what's a silly thing that you made me think of?
Yeah.
I like Biscoff cookies. They make a Biscoff cookie butter, like
Okay,
butter.
yeah, of course, like the Trader Joe's.
And
yeah.
you think like eating like the Biscoff butter on the Biscoff cookie.
Redundant.
It doesn't work at all. It doesn't make it better at all. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. No, exactly. No, it is. It's a hat on a hat.
Yeah.
Yep, it's a hat on a hat. There's no
it just
need.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like, because there's no difference between the flavor of the crunch and the flavor of.
Exactly. You're just having the same thing in two different forms.
That's why
It's ice water.
like the Biscoff cookie, like cheesecake is
There you
really
go.
good because now you're
You
changing
have cheesecake.
flavor
Yeah, but I'm
profile.
assuming the crust is made from the Biscoff.
Oh,
cookies.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah, you have
But it's
different forms.
definitely more of usually a classic cheesecake.
Yeah.
Like vanilla,
of course,
kind of.
which sounds absolutely delicious.
Heck yeah, I love cheesecake.
I think that's one of my favorite foods of all time, honestly.
Oh yeah,
New York style cheesecake, or cheesesteak,
or cheesesteak.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
cheesesteak's
I heard
mine.
cheesesteak, man. I was like, heck yeah. Now I am curious, because I've talked to your brother Jared, and he always displays you as a young man.
Yeah.
Cooking in your Easy Bake Oven.
That's the one. That's
Is that true? Is that the true story that you really cooked in an Easy
It could be
Bake
more
Oven?
true. And I mean, if we can be really transparent here, yeah, I was like 3 years old, and I don't even know if I knew what an Easy Bake Oven was. I think the Christmas wish really was, I want to cook. I want to be able to cook, and I knew that food came from the oven. I'm a baby, and I was like, I want an oven. And mom was like, you want an Easy Bake Oven? And I thought an oven and an Easy Bake Oven were the same thing. I thought Easy Bake Oven was the elongated version of the word oven. And I was like, yeah, I want an Easy Bake Oven. Christmas morning. I really do remember this because the kitchen table is still there in my parents' house, or at least the footprint of the kitchen table. And getting that Easy Bake Oven, and it was like white, and I think it had some pink on it and some frills or whatever, a little feminine.
I can vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
Like, that was pretty much the classic
Absolutely.
Easy Bake Oven.
I mean, thinking about it nowadays, it's a very dangerous object, but it was brownies. I made brownies. That was the first thing I made in it, and my dad wasn't thrilled about it. My dad's awesome, but he probably was like 30, and a macho man, and was like, "What the hell is this pink thing for my son?" I mean, there was no bigotry. It was just like, what is that? But brownies. But the thing is, my love for cooking came before that, just from wanting to eat. There wasn't any fancy thing. I just loved food. And my mom was a server and the waitress full time. My dad was hanging signs. They were always there for me, but there wasn't a lot of time for intricate home meals. And I never resented them for that. We were just surviving. They came from poverty and they climbed out of it. But I just wanted to eat. And I think my mom just, I think I worded it to her at that young age, like, I want to make food for myself. I know you're busy, in 3-year-old talk. And I slid that kitchen chair up to the stove, and I learned to preheat the pan and cook onions and mushrooms. And that's the first thing I cooked.
How old were you?
I had to have been 4 or 5, maybe. I really
What
wish.
an odd thing to cook.
Yeah.
Don't you have to cut those?
Yeah.
You weren't allowed to use a knife at that
I
age.
don't remember. I really don't. I remember, I really do think I did cut them. I do. And I think it was
Such a
probably
dangerous thing
haphazard.
to do.
But was it? Because, I mean, my parents are amazing, where they really did treat my brother and I like adults for the most part. We weren't really babied too much. I mean, they were obviously really supportive of us, but I remember at a very young age where the macaroni art wasn't impressive anymore, and where I was being talked to at a real level. and being like, if you're hungry, we'll have lunch and dinner, but if you want a snack, like, here's the stove, here's the fridge. And I don't resent them for that at all. I celebrate that. I think it's amazing that they gave me that independence so early. But it was sliding up the kitchen chair and maybe cutting the onions and the mushrooms. I really don't remember. But I remember sauteing them in that Teflon pan. You know, it was just so delicious. I don't think I added salt, but that evolved into omelets or scrambled eggs. And I would fork the egg. I remember watching my mom whisk the eggs with a fork and hitting the, and I thought that she was like doing like alchemy by hitting the, and whisking it. And so I'd make eggs for myself. And then, I was so in love with the idea of being paid to cook food for other people, especially. And it just was so, as long as I can remember. And it sounds so corny and so like, okay. But really, since the age of like 4 or 5, I was like, I want to be a chef. I want to make food. I want to be a chef. And I went through all the layers of like wanting to go to CIA, wanting to own a restaurant, wanting to own a burger joint, a food truck, what every chef goes through.
All the phases.
I'm glad I didn't do any of them. I'm glad that my path led me to where I am. I mean,
I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into any one of those things, like owning your own restaurant. Like, there's
virtually impossible.
There's so much that goes into it. A food truck. Can you imagine the headaches involved in that?
I just can't imagine making a profit off of it. Like, you go to a festival 5 times a year and you make a bunch of money, but how much food can you fit in your food truck and the trailer that you brought with you?
Yeah.
I mean, to make serious profit, you need to rock and roll for 10 months out of the year, pumping food out and underpaying your staff and getting the lowest cost on the best ingredients possible. You just have to scam people. You just scam people for months and keep it going while trying to pretend like you're not scamming people. And I mean, we'll get real deep, but I blame capitalism, but it's just not a sustainable practice. And if so, you have to be a guru. And if you are a rich restaurateur, you're abusing people. At some point or another, there is abuse happening, whether it's overworking or underpaying or, telling people it's Wagyu when really it's just diced up prime beef, whatever it might be. It's very difficult to make money in this industry and have ethical business practices.
Well, and that sounds like why you like where you work so well, because people know they're going to be paying a premium when they come in.
I work for a principal that is very wealthy, and he takes care of his staff. We offer fantastic products at a very reasonable price. I mean, I wouldn't want to put words in the company's mouth, but I believe we were operating at a loss for many years at the expense of giving people a fantastic experience. And now that the company I work at is so big, we're very hyper-focused on cost analysis and labor, and they're very good to their staff. But in the beginning, the only way to have a restaurant group was to be a, billionaire, and was to just have a love for the game of good food and willing to take a huge hit just to bring fantastic food to a small town in Maryland. Like, really, it feels like a simulation.
It's really actually wild, because this is like Easton, Maryland is a very small town. And once you kind of peel back the curtain and you see there's a very rich culinary world going on here. Just in that little downtown area.
Absolutely.
There's just so much culinary experiences happening there all the time.
Of course. Not only at Blue Point, the group I work at, but all over town.
Yeah, all over town.
Like Out of the Fire is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, Scosa, Docks, all these places, they take it seriously. And I'm really happy with the scene for food in this area. I think we're blessed, honestly.
Yeah. It's surprising. It's just such a little, it's the little town, and it's got all this stuff.
All this art.
Yeah.
Look at the Avalon. Look at,
art.
all of that.
Yeah. And I like it too, man. They really do stuff for everyone here, because they have like street festivals. Like even this weekend, they're having a street festival too. So it's a Pride weekend.
Yeah.
But it's like any excuse to shut the streets down and have a party.
And be together.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know how much I craved as a kid. Craving that shut the streets down and let's party together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I was a kid in St. Michael's, we had Midnight Madness, and it was like a couple Saturdays before Christmas, and all the shops would stay up until midnight. And I was like 12 or 13. I didn't have any of my own money, but just the idea of like the street shutting down and all the kids are running around at like 9:30 p.m. and not in bed. That's magic. Yeah. That's magic.
Yeah.
You know, and we're cultivating that here in Easton and in St. Michael's. I think it's awesome.
It's a great time here in Easton, really.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that because I live 1 block from the party. Do you think it is a good idea for young people to kind of get into cooking if they want to do this industry?
Yes.
It'd be good.
Yes.
And it's worth working their way up to like where you're at.
Without a doubt. 100 times yes. 100 times yes. I mean, if you love cooking, if you love hospitality, if you love bartending, if you love serving, you know, if you love washing dishes, anything, yes, it is important. It's, in my opinion, job security because robots can't wash dishes. Not like we can. They can spray them off, but they can't polish the dish and make sure there's no watermarks. Maybe one day. But robots can't give you a corny story about Costa Rican sunsets and mean it. You know, I think that it is a safe job in the long run, as well as it releases dopamine. Only a few things release pleasure in the human body, and the other two are very inappropriate. But the one that we all endure together is food, and it's so fun, and it's awesome.
True.
I think my biggest advice to people at that step in their life is do not be abused, because there is a huge hole in the market for good employees. And if someone's abusing you and underpaying you for the work that you do, leave. Leave. Give your 2 weeks notice in and work as hard as you can until your last day. Leave. If you truly think you're being overworked and underpaid, adios. You don't owe your employer anything at all. They did not do you a favor by hiring you. If you're working at 11 Madison Park, which is this crazy fancy restaurant, if you're working at Burger King, if they're taking advantage of you, get out of there. Because you will find an equal opportunity for better money and better treatment. No problem at all.
Yeah, there are a lot of restaurants all over, and you work in the kitchen area of it. So I feel like that's a cool experience. A lot of people become waiters or waitresses and stuff, and that's a whole different experience.
Totally.
But I think it's a lot different working in the kitchen, and I think it's a lot of skill. Sure, you're skilled working as a waitress, waiter.
Social cues.
But like, it's different when you're working hands-on with food and creating something.
Absolutely.
It's just a different experience being in the kitchen.
It's black and white, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, because you're not worrying about overcooking a table.
No.
Or you're not worried about not ordering ice water.
Yeah.
You know, for next week's requisition.
Yeah.
It's way different. But there are similarities that you have one shot. You don't get a redo. You don't get to give that person their first time at your restaurant back.
Yeah, and if you don't get a good first, I've given a restaurant like 3 tries before.
Yeah, you're a better man than most.
But
and as you should, because anyone can have an off day.
Man, and then there's restaurants like in Centerville, Maryland. There's a restaurant. I won't name any names.
Of course.
But the food's bland. Every time, like, I haven't even been there. My parents go there, say the food's bland. Then there's a really awesome Indian restaurant there that I think's getting remodeled.
Yeah.
And they don't get near enough business. And their food, you go in there.
Smacking.
Oh, dude, it's so good. Because they're from India. They cook it like
authenticity.
I've been to India. Their food is just as good as being in India.
I can only imagine.
So, and of course we have
one of
Bombay.
my favorite cuisines.
We have Bombay tikka here that's really good.
Love Bombay tikka. Awesome.
Yeah, and they're good, and they really harp on like giving you the spice level you want.
For sure. Oh yeah.
This one is like they'll tone it down so most. Not trying to call us out, but you know,
they see the shade of your skin.
They'll tone it down. So like most people of our ethnic persuasion will actually enjoy like their butter chicken is like great flavor, not overly spicy. But if you want something spicy, it gets up there, you know. It'd be like a 6 out of 10 at Bombay tikka.
Part of that culture too. Part of that culture. I mean, there are people that can handle heat and can't, but when you don't, obviously there's a very prosperous country now, India and all these countries, but a lot of food now comes from food that people that were oppressed cooked. A lot of fine dining is food that was cooked by peasants. Kokavin is braised rooster because the slaves could only eat rooster because they weren't allowed to have the hen's delicious meat. Beef bourguignon was made with the cheap cuts of the beef that were given to the people that worked downstairs, and they'd braise in red wine so it was edible. The rum was made from sugarcane because it was the cheapest thing available. I mean, all these things come from people that cooked the fine dining food, but what they ate was more delicious because they had the hands-on experience of making food delicious. And it's hard to follow, but it's like, it's the people making the art that create the art. And it's the people that enjoy the art that are stifling the art. And that's that hamster wheel that we find ourselves in.
Oh, that's so interesting.
And that's my belief, especially with food. I think painting as well. Look at Van Gogh. At his time, no one gave a poohickey about Van Gogh. He thought he was crazy and he was messy and he could not compare to some of the old artists. And then he died, and we look at his art and it's like, whoa, look at the persuasion, look at the command of color, look at what we didn't know what we had until it was gone.
Yeah.
And I think food's the same way. I think that it is the oppressed, it is the underpaid dishwasher that will pave the way for the future of appreciations in this art.
Now, is there a lost food of the ages that you think should be here?
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Is there really?
There's a lot of them. Vietnamese summer rolls, I think, is the perfect food.
Oh, yeah?
The rice paper with the herbs and the cucumber and the hoisin sauce and the crushed peanuts. Not sure how authentic it is, but for me, that is the perfect food.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that there isn't a Chipotle. But instead of tortillas, it's the rice paper with a big infant-sized vegetable roll, low calorie, absolutely delicious. You can pack as much protein into it as you want.
Yeah.
And I mean, you put
I've heard that's a good trick to keep things low calorie.
They're just so good. They're easy to make.
Yeah.
They fill you up because it's tons of fiber.
Where do they sell the rice paper?
Anywhere.
Acme.
I mean,
they got them
anywhere. You go to the Asian section, right next to the nori, they'll have the rice paper.
Okay.
Soak it in water for 20 seconds and then roll whatever you want in there.
Yeah.
And it's just
so thin, there's like
great.
nothing to it.
Exactly.
Right?
And if they break
what
on
do you do, air
double
fry
them. So the summer rolls are fresh.
Okay.
Summer rolls are just literally hydrated rice paper. It's kind of like a gummy, chewy consistency, like vermicelli noodles almost. If you saw them, you'd recognize them.
Okay.
They're not fried. You can fry them. In my opinion, they're gross when they're fried.
What, they don't become nice and crisp?
They do. They get really puffy and really crispy, but it's such a thin medium that it holds a lot of that oil from whatever you're frying them in. And I don't think an air fryer would do anything to them. I think it needs that oil.
What if
really
you sprayed them with a little Pam and then throw them in there?
It's one of those, we call it food IQ. Like, you've never done this dish before, but you can imagine what it would be like. And I just imagine a fried summer roll just not working in an air fryer. I could be wrong.
Gotcha.
But they're fresh. They're delicious. That's a hidden gem of the world, as well as pickles and french fries.
Okay.
Eat more pickles and french fries. When you go to the dock bar and you get a burger and they give you a silly little dill pickle spear, you have the opportunity to enjoy your fries with your pickle.
Yeah. Eat a fry, bite the pickle.
Bite the pickle. Back
Eat
and
a
forth.
fry, bite the pickle.
And your burger is just an afterthought after that.
Not for me, buddy.
Oh man, I'm
Not
telling
for
you,
me,
I'm
boy.
telling you, I'll never turn back. Now I know why fried pickles are so popular. Hey, they're so good.
Yeah, that burger's never an afterthought for me, buddy.
You and me both.
Well, I work in weight loss, so I was going to ask you, because we talked about it the other day. I can't remember, but best way to cook chicken breast, because let's face it, most of the time it sucks.
Okay. So there are 3 tiers to talk about here, right? We have chicken breast for meal prep. You're cooking chicken breast that you're going to cut up and eat later.
That's the main one.
That's the main one.
That's the main one.
In my opinion, I use my air fryer. I cook very methodically at work, and when I'm at home, I cook very efficiently. I've got every spice you can think of. I get a big metal mixing bowl. I get the biggest, dumbest pack of chicken I can get from Aldi. And I butterfly the chicken, so I put my palm on top, a sharp knife, and I cut through the middle of the chicken, and I put all the breasts into a big stainless steel mixing bowl. I cover it in soy sauce, sesame oil, garlic powder, onion powder, and a little bit of honey. Not enough to burn. I mean, I'm talking about a tablespoon. Just toss it up, leave it in your fridge overnight. Get an air fryer, 400 degrees, 10 minutes, until it's as firm as the fat of your finger when you press your pointer finger and your thumb together. That's perfectly cooked chicken on everyone's finger. If you have a stove, 4 minutes on medium heat with a little bit of oil in the pan, flip it over, 6 minutes, turn off the heat, cover it for 2 minutes. For the most part, you'll be great. If you want to get technical, thermopin, 155 degrees. Because when you take it out, it'll carry over to 165.
Okay.
Perfect chicken breast. Chicken breast hates to be cooked over, and it hates to be cooked slow. Has to be quick. Has to be quick. Get it done. Get it to the temp. Finish it off.
I've always been the type of person, when I'm cooking chicken, it's hot and fast. It always has been.
Has to be.
My dad, he's like a slow cook king. He'll slow cook everything.
You can braise chicken, but it's not tasty.
No.
It's just not.
No.
It's not a tasty braised meat. It's a white meat. You wouldn't braise veal. You don't braise chicken.
I don't.
Yeah.
I got really big into barbecuing on a Weber grill.
Yeah. And you can barbecue chicken. I've had delicious barbecue chicken, but it's not the slow cooked barbecue chicken that's delicious.
I specifically use hard lump coal.
Gotcha.
Because it burns hotter, faster.
Yep.
And I'll either use a vortex, which goes right in the center, looks like a volcano.
I see. Okay.
So then you mine all your chicken around the circle. The vortex is in the middle. It hammers the heat straight up to the center of it, and it goes around.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's hot and it's fast.
Hot and it's seared, and you get color on it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, boiled chicken is delicious, but when you boil chicken, you're simmering it in water that's 212 degrees. And chicken cooks at 160. You got to be quick, and if it gets over, it's going to be gross.
So my uncle, the way he does it is he boils chicken breast.
Yeah.
Then he'll barbecue it and put craft barbecue on it.
Well, just burn the living goodness off of it.
I will say it's
barbecue sauce will fix anything.
It's nostalgic. You know, craft barbecue.
Yeah, chewing on that chicken breast for 10 minutes reminds me of home too.
Sometimes it's tender. Maybe he's getting better at it, but like,
well, you can hit the nectar sector. If you pull it at 155 and it hits 160, it's gonna be good.
So some of the last things I kind of wanted to talk about. Of course, we have like that's the best way to cook chicken, and I think the pan way is actually really easy. It sounds like
it is.
Yeah. You know, I've been watching a really simple chef on YouTube, Jacques Pepin, and he's like a friend of who is that really famous lady?
So Jacques Pepin is a friend of all chefs. Jacques Pepin is
okay.
I mean, if you want to get into Jacques Pepin, I'll tell you all about Jacques Pepin.
I was thinking about that one lady who did a lot of cooking.
Julia Child.
I thought they were very good friends.
They were. They're very good friends.
And
he's French.
You watch him cook.
Yeah.
The simplicity of his cooking.
Isn't that just marvelous?
You wouldn't think, you're like, that's it? And he's like, you'll love it.
Yeah, that's it. It's that simple.
And it's very simple. He does a lot of the methods, like you said, where he takes the, the burnt on fond.
Yes.
He does that a lot.
The white vine.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's got his method for like how you said, has his method for cooking like chicken thighs in a pan.
Yep.
That's really simple too.
Yep.
Like
delicious.
I'm sure it's delicious because then he takes that fond and makes a cream sauce in it and like dumps it over top.
Yep.
If he's serving it right away. If not, he puts it on the side to keep the crisp on the.
Yep, exactly. When you're ready to serve it.
He's amazing.
He's a genius.
Is there any chefs that like inspired your cooking early on? And I'll tell you mine right off the bat.
Go ahead.
Emerald Lagasse.
Oh, Lagasse.
I used to watch him so much, and it was just that like he'd be talking and like bam, you know.
Yep, that's his signature.
He was such a sensational.
It's infectious, isn't it? You know, and I think every realm or every era had that Emerald. Everyone had that Jacques. Everyone had that Gordon Ramsay.
Oh yeah,
you know they do. They have these people that resonate and connect with what people eat at the time. Jacques Pepin is a tremendous part of my life.
Really?
Huge. It's actually funny that you said his name. I didn't know. I mean, that's awesome that you know who he is. My best friend John Belser owns Belser Woodworking Company. Unless you've met him, he's a really cool dude. But his mom Suzanne is a very talented artist, and she was in the restaurant industry for a long time. And she was one of the first people to understand that I really wanted to be a chef and not just like learn how to cook. And I think I was 11 years old. And she gave me 2 of the Bibles of food that I couldn't even begin to comprehend at the time. But I still have them to this day. And they are two of the most important books in my library of all time. And one is Larousse Gastronomique, which is literally the encyclopedia of food. And she said this book means nothing without the accompaniment of Jacques Pepin's A la Technique, which is just Jacques Pepin in a black and white book telling you how to cook everything, from breaking down a chicken breast to rabbit saddle, you know. And without a doubt, in my opinion, some of the most inspirational and fantastic educational books for any young chef to have. But for me, chefs that encompass what it is to be a food artist and to really use the plate as a medium and use the food as a brush is Magnus Nilsson, who is a Nordic cook from Norway. It is a restaurant called Fabiken, and it's in the middle of nowhere. Like, it's a different universe. It's a hunting lodge, and it was on San Pellegrino's list of 100 best restaurants in the world. And I mean, I don't want to steal any of his thunder, but if you want to look at a chef that creates art from what he's given, these guys working off of ice, you know, and just like the tundra, and he's just an absolute genius. And I think that's what it is. It's like, I take struggle, I make art, I sell my art. Can you follow those 3 steps? You know, and this guy is a genius. It's what resonates with you. You know, some people might resonate with the dock bar chef, and some people might resonate with the Nordic weirdo that makes deer blood sausage.
For you, it's definitely the art form of it.
For sure. Absolutely. I have to be creative.
For me, I don't know what it is. I guess I still like chase that like wow, this is really tasty kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think
it has to.
I think of Bobby Flay. Have you ever watched that show?
I
Like
love
Beat
Bobby
Bobby
Flay.
Flay. I loved that show because like people would be like, this is my signature dish.
Yep.
My grandma taught me, this has been passed down for 700 years. And then they'd have a competition and Bobby Flay'd beat them.
With just something off the top of his head.
Well, he'd have to cook the same thing.
I love when
He'd
Bobby
have to cook
Flay,
their dish.
when he sits down, he'll sit down and be like, I'm done. I'm done. I have extra time. That's food IQ. Bobby Flay has food IQ. He knows what to do.
He would cook these people's special 700-year-old dish.
Their nonas were rolling in their graves.
Yes, and he would cook it better than them. And that is just like, I've seen him maybe get beat once or twice.
Those are always rewarded.
Whole show.
Yeah.
But like,
I hadn't watched that show until one of the line cooks that worked under me at Tiger Lily was like, man, you need to be on Beat Bobby Flay. You would love that. They would do great on that show. I was like, what's Beat Bobby Flay? And I watched it. I was like, oh, wow, this is extremely entertaining.
it is.
Yeah, it is.
I love that show.
Yeah.
That was a really good one.
Yeah.
I never really got into the Hell's Kitchen or anything like that.
It can be entertaining, but I have zero desire of competing at any point with food.
Yeah.
I do not want to compete against somebody. Never.
I can tell you the one I would, the barbecue one that's on Netflix. I'd love to compete on that one.
It's a technicality thing. Barbecue is food science. There's obviously art involved, but that's science. You
they
understand thermodynamics and...
They throw the curveballs in there.
Do they?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
They'll do stuff like they'll give you a weird smoker to cook on, like
oil drum smoker.
Yeah, here's a filing cabinet, you know, and then they'll be like, "Oh, you drew the short straw, you get open fire."
Okay,
like,
yeah,
and you're just like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, that's very hard.
So there were lots of things where they'd throw, and then you got to design the menu, right? So that's something.
Composition.
Yeah, like, you know, you got to have the appetizer that hits, that blends in, just like how you said these courses, like, because that's where people go wrong in these competitions. The appetizer doesn't match the meal, doesn't match the dessert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they need to be made from the same ingredients, but they have to complement each other.
They do.
I'm not about to eat a pasta and then have Duchess potatoes and New York strip and buttery cauliflower. No, I want the crudo, and then I want to break it up with a little pasta, and then I'll finish off with a Dover sole. You know, that's why some people order. We have a prefix menu, so you choose your first course, your second course, or your third course. And we'll see some people's orders, and we're like, ugh, like, what are you doing? And then we'll insist on the intermezzo. Like, if you want pasta, right to whatever creamy, rich dish we have as an entree, we'll always hit you with some grapefruit sorbet.
Yeah, something
gazpacho, just to clear you out a little bit, give you some time.
Yeah.
Phil's very good at this. He'll add time. He'd be like, no. They finish that meal way too quick. They need to wait a second. Because if we just put food in front of them, they're not going to want to enjoy it immediately. They're going to want to stay for a second, have their wine, and then their food's cold.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what I look up to a lot. And Phil and all of the people that are above me are the little things that I don't think about. And it's like, wow, like I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I need to remember that for next time.
See, I don't think about the timing of the dishes coming out all the time. Now, I think about the timing in the cooking to try to have everything come together at the right time, which is sometimes possible when you're home cooking, but sometimes isn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't thought about that in the serving aspect
it's crucial.
of it.
Yeah, when a food gets fired, when a dish gets fired, it means that table has been cleared. They've been crumbed. They've been set. They had their wine pairing. The food has to come right after. And if it's anything else, it looks sloppy. And our goal is perfection at Baton Rouge. Our goal is the best of the best of the best.
And
so every day we're not
timing.
Yeah, we're not celebrating our victories. We are concentrating on our failures constantly. Constantly. Especially Phil and I. We'll encourage the team and be like, you did a great job tonight. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Fix this. But him and I at the end of the night are like, we have to fix this. We have to fix this. We can't do this. This didn't work. This looked dumb. It's a form of failure and it's exhausting, but it's so rewarding. It's so fun to like pour your heart out for 65 hours a week and then go into Open Table and look at the reviews and be like, damn, we changed lives tonight. These people came all the way from Pennsylvania and they said it was the best meal they ever had. Like that.
Oh yeah, that's gotta feel great.
It's amazing. It's selfish of me, but that's what I live for. I love that. I love that I can make a change in somebody's day, let alone their life. So I mean, for me, that's the goal.
Do you have any meals that stand out in your mind as like one that really pops off?
Yeah. In Dover, Delaware, there is a Indian restaurant. Funny enough, next to a liquor store, called Flavor of India.
Okay, yeah, I've seen it.
I don't want to do any disservice of trying to explain this experience, but if you ever are in the state of Delaware, you need to take a detour to Dover and go to Flavor of India.
It was that good?
Yes. Without a doubt, the best plate of food I've ever enjoyed in my entire life. And I've ate at Gabriel Cruther, I've ate at Le Bernardin, I've eaten a lot of 3, 2, 1 Michelin star restaurants, and yes, how magical they are. But I grew up poor. I grew up from a mom that was born, my mom lived in a teepee in a school bus, and my dad was in the military. Like, I didn't come from silver spoon. We grew up poor. I don't have any interest in the tablecloths and I love it because I make money from it, and it gives me an excuse to be super creative with food. But I just love, like you said, I love delicious, flavorful, wonderful food.
What was the dish you had there?
I was dating at the time a vegetarian, so I had to also eat vegetarian, which I wasn't complaining about. I love veggies, but I had the paneer masala. Just cheese and masala sauce. That's all you need. Get some of the little samosas. What are they called? I was getting mixed up. You know what I'm talking about? Not the Girl Scout cookie, but the little fried.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And they cook the rice with the coriander and the cinnamon, and they give you the spicy sauce. Run, don't walk to Flavor of India. After this podcast, if you're in the mood for a drive, I will drive there with you and we'll go get some because it is so good.
Well, tonight you're going to be stuck eating steak and eggs, man. That's my go-to.
Steak and eggs, baby.
But you're going to be like, wow, this is some good steak and eggs.
Yeah.
I mean, I guarantee it.
It can taste like paneer masala from Flavor of India. But that is definitely my favorite. Like, that's a meal that I had that I literally had to stop and like try to explain to the owner how good it was. And he was just like, yeah, I know. Like, he wasn't even thankful. He was like, I know, it's the best. It's very good. Like, we're the best at doing this. Like, he wasn't being a jerk, but he said, like, yeah, this is the best. This is the best Indian food you can buy. I'm the best at making it. And I thought that was so cool.
He could have been.
I haven't had better since.
I'm telling you, man, like that little Indian spot in Centerville. Like, I've been to India, and their food is up to snuff with literally eating like the best food I could, in India with my friend from India, eating at the best restaurant that he knows in his like little
And there
section.
you go. And here we
And
are.
it was just as good.
Yeah.
It's
explosive.
Yeah.
That's definitely my favorite, like, just meal. But my favorite, we're trying our hardest, giving you our all. There's a place in New York City called Cafe Carmelini, which is a newish restaurant. and I guess it's a contemporary Italian. That was spectacular. That was really good. But that had the air of hospitality and service, and the pretty servers are taking you to your table, and they're crumbing your table, and the magic is there to pick up any slack the food might have had, which it didn't. The food was flawless. But that was a lot of fun. I think that was like the best sit-down meal experience I had. But food, it's flavor of India all day.
No kidding.
All day.
I'll have to try it
Every time.
Next time I'm in
Dover, Delaware.
Next time I go to Dover, man. Next time I go out there, I'm gonna get it, man.
You can't forget, Kelly. You cannot forget it.
It's
that good.
I won't
really
forget.
Paneer masala. That's what I got every time because it was so good that I couldn't waste the opportunity.
Paneer masala.
Yeah, but I guess paneer is the little like
cheese,
firm cheese they have, and then masala sauce over rice with, of course, the garlic naan. You have to have the garlic naan. Gotta have the garlic naan. And I get the hottest they offer. I do. I get it.
No
as
problem
hot as
there,
possible.
man. I'll do that.
I see it as it keeps me from binge eating because I'll keep eating until I'm gonna pop. I love food. I love food. So if I get really spicy, I have to go slow and drink a lot of water and watch the calories. So
yeah. I'm sure it's the bomb, man.
It really is the best.
Now, is there a favorite dessert that you've ever had?
English trifle with Heath bar and banana.
What is that?
So this is actually my brother's favorite dessert. Jared, his birthday, he'd always ask for it. Our Aunt Melinda, my dad's sister, would always make it an English trifle. I guess it's like a layered cake dessert that's served in a dish that's very round, and it encourages you to like dig really deep and get the layers. The one that we always have goes yellow cake, Heath bar, vanilla pudding, banana, whipped cream, repeat, 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 repeat. And you kind of pack it down a little bit, but the layers are still shown, and you let it sit in the fridge like overnight.
Yeah, that makes stuff like that.
Oh, we in the dairy industry, we call it maturation. You let things mature and get to know each other, and you let osmosis occur, let the water go in and out of every solution. But English trifle with the Heath bar and banana, I will make it for you one day.
All right.
And it's funny because my brother, he's the connoisseur. He's like the savant. He's the Rain Man of trifle. I made it for a Halloween party I had. And I bought a bunch of instant vanilla pudding, so I didn't have to cook it. I just put the milk in there, stirred it, put it in the fridge, and I didn't have enough milk. So I did 2 extra packets of vanilla pudding mix for the amount of milk I had. And Jared's eating it, and he's like, so good, but the pudding tastes more intense. I can't explain it, but the pudding flavor is a bit too strong. And I was like, dang it, Jared, you know exactly, that's exactly right.
He's got that whole tongue thing, so he was picking up on the difference.
Yeah, he has the 4-dimensional tongue.
Yeah, he does. So I'm sure he was picking up on all the flavor profiles.
But dessert-wise, in my opinion, that's perfect. It's very similar to like the pretzel salad or the...
Love a pretzel salad. God, there's tons of good desserts, man.
What's your favorite?
Oh, man, I'm trying to think. One of my favorites I ever made was brownie bottomed cheesecakes, and then I took those Lindt truffle things. You know how they're soft in the center?
Oh yeah.
And then I just pushed one in the center of each one, and then you know how those seemed like they would taste good coming right out of the fridge? These were better if you set them out and let them come up to room temp.
Yep.
And then when you took that bite, it was like every bite, your teeth would hit that Lindt truffle and bust into it and have that creamy chocolate. Ghirardelli brownies, like triple chocolate.
The best of all time.
Your classic like Philly cheese.
Cream cheese, cream cheese.
Perfect cream cheese. Yeah, I mean, it was just like...
That sounds delicious.
It was just money, man. I mean,
delicious.
Because every bite, you got that like perfect hit of that creamed chocolate.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just the bomb.
Perfect. That sounds like right up my alley. I love Lindt chocolate. I love brownies. And cheesecake's one of my favorites.
And they just turned out that good. And
one of those ones. Yep, you were playing jazz.
And it was just a happenstance that they sat out for a little bit before I ate one instead of right out of the fridge.
Yep.
And that made it.
It's all about
10 times
happy little accidents. Bob Ross was onto something.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was one of my favorites.
That sounds awesome.
I'm trying to think what would be good to wrap it up here. Well, dessert is a good place to wrap it up. I mean, that's really.
They say that the most important part of a meal is they say like the amuse, the bread, or the cocktails, whatever happens first. And then the most important part of a meal is coffee. You'd think it'd be dessert, and it
Oh,
should be
okay.
dessert, but not
Yeah,
everyone gets
yeah.
coffee. But you have to have great coffee. The last thing that you get has to be so important. At Bar Rouge, we give you an olive oil cake, which is a pound
Okay.
cake made with, instead of like a neutral oil, really nice olive oil, lots of orange juice, really fine milled flour. It's this decadent little pound cake that tastes like olive oil. It's delicious. And we give that to you to take home with you. So once you get home and you're still floating on a cloud from your crazy meal and the wines and the French server that was wooing you, and you're thinking about it, and the next day you go to work and you're telling your friends about it, and you get home and you're still on the cloud, and right when you forget about your meal, you look down and you see the olive oil cake from the restaurant that you were so fond of. And then you have one last, like, oh yeah. And for me, that is the difference. The difference is like making an impact on someone's life that's lasting. The flavor of India, I mean, that was like 3 years ago, but I know I'll never forget about that. I will think about that paneer masala on New Year's Day, miserable, hungry, cranky, not thinking I was going to make it through the day from partying too hard the night before, to being more invigorated to be a chef than ever before.
Yeah.
Like if I can make any food that's half as good as this paneer masala, I will die happy. And I think I'm far from it still. Like,
well, you heard it. That's the way to end it. Make an impact with anything you do, but if you're cooking, it definitely feels good to have that impact. It just carries over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thanks again for coming on, Tyler.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure.
And we are actually going to wrap it up, and I'm going to cook some just my classic steak and eggs with dessert, which will be vanilla ice cream that I also put cinnamon and honey in.
Very clever.
So that's kind of
I love it.
kind of my. This is like my signature dish. So you're going to experience my signature dish.
Lovely. What a joy.
Yeah. All right. So thanks.